Hello! Welcome back to the channel. This video is about drawing lines with your mouse clicking, so we can click and drag all over the screen and draw lines. It's fun. It's cool. So this is again another one that would work really well in an AR scene, but again I am demoing it just in our regular kind of game scene. We are attaching the line drawing to what the main camera is seeing, and so again, if you're in AR, you could, instead of using the main camera, you would use the AR camera, tag it as main camera, and then it would work with that camera. So this is one that is a little bit more just scripting heavy, but one of the first things to know about is how the line renderer works. So all I've done is made an empty game object. I renamed it to be draw lines, and then I added this line drawer script, which is empty. But just to take a quick look at the line renderer. So the way that this thing works is it creates a line. So right now there's nothing there. But what you can see is that there is a place in the positions section. So right now there's two positions. One is at 0, 0, 0, one is at 1, 1, 1. So we can, if we wanted to change this, we can make the line longer. We can add more positions. Maybe this one's at like 3, right? So we can, every time you add a position, you determine a point in space for it. You can change the width like so. You can change the colors. There is a start color and an end color, which is like kind of fun. The materials, we just want to use the default line material, which is hard to find. Default line, yeah. So if we use the default line material, you can you can do lots of different colors. But so what we're going to do is we're going to click and drag around our screen. We're going to generate a list of points that we will then put into our positions, and that's basically it. So this is kind of what's happening in the back end. So I'm going to remove that. So we're going to do all of that with code. So let's go into our script. And so the first things first, one of the things that we need to do is to be able to actually get the point in space that we're clicking. So I'm going to make a function down here that will actually return a vector3 that is at mouse position. So I can just call this and it will give me, so we'll call this get mouse position. And okay. So what's cool about this is we can use a, basically when you click on the screen space goes from like 0 to 1, right? Like X goes from the positive and Y goes from 0 to 1. But that's screen space, that's not world space, so we have to convert between the two. So we can make an array that is equal to what the camera dot made, and so we're converting screen point to ray, and that is giving us a point in space that is from the origin of the camera to where we are clicking. So we're putting in input dot mouse position. Okay, and then we want to not, so when you click on the screen point, it puts you like, if I'm the camera, right, it puts the point like here, right, in between your eyes. But you want it to be like a little bit out in front of the camera so you can actually see it. So we can return the ray origin. So that's the position of the camera, plus the ray direction. And what we could do is we can actually multiply this by some number. That is how far away from the camera we actually want to be like drawing the points. So I might say like 10 or so, and you can create a variable and like play around with this if you want. But I think just for what I've been playing around with, 10 feels pretty good. So I'll just do that. So, okay. So we are kind of returning array back here. And so we can test to see if this is working. So I can check to see, okay, if I am pressing the input.get mouse button. So if I'm pressing the mouse button, which 0 is the left button and 1 is the right button, I can do our friend debug.draw array, and then I can give it the so camera.main screen to world point. So that is the position of the start of the array. Give it the input dot mouse position. And then if you remember in debug.drawArray, you have to give it a direction. So the direction I'm going to give it is the array that we're generating. Get mouse position. And then I'm going to just draw it a color because I want to red. Okay. So if I'm pressing the button, it's going to draw a little array, and then we can just test to see if this position that we're getting is accurate, because this live took a little while to figure out. So let's hit play. Let's look at the camera. So if I click, there we go. So the camera, I believe, is looking this direction, so we can kind of see it's like, right? So this is, it looks like that as I click and drag on the screen, this little debug array is following the mouse in the way that I want. So that is awesome. Okay, so we're really able to follow the position of the mouse, which is great. All right. So next, what we want to do is, as we are holding down the mouse, we want to get the positions of the end of that little array and then add them to a list so that we can save them. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create a list variable. So I'm going to make a list of vector 3 points. I'm going to just call this line points. I'm going to set line points equal to a new list. 3. And the reason that we're using a list instead of an array is so that I can dynamically add points to it. And it doesn't matter, like a list you can keep adding, you don't have a set length. And then later the LineRenderer requires an array for its points, so we'll just convert the list to an array. Okay, so one other thing that I want to do is I don't want to add a point every single frame because that's a little bit excessive. So I'm going to set up a little bit of a timer situation so I can control how quickly line points are added to our list. And you can slow it down if you want a little bit of like a kind of sharper line situation, or you can make it a little faster if you want a smoother line. So it's up to you, but I don't think every frame is necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a float, we'll call this timer, and then I'll make a public float timer delay. And so we'll set timer equal to timer delay. And timer delay, I will set publicly. So I think that 0.01 is like pretty good to start off with. We'll go back. Okay, so we have our timer. And so as we are kind of clicking down, what I'm going to do is I will say timer minus equals time.delta time. And if timer is less than or equal to 0, then I will add the points to my list. So what I'll do is line points.add, and I will get that mouse position. And so again, if you remember, this is the point at the end of the array. Okay, so This is a little hard to see because we're basically just kind of adding points dynamically to a list. So we could print the list out if we wanted to, but it'll just give us a bunch of vector 3s. But we can check it. So we can say if input.get mouse. So if we release the mouse, let's just do a debug.log. And we will line points. And then we will, so if we release the mouse, we want to clear the list out because we only want it to, every time we click and drag, we'll want a new line. So maybe we will do a, we'll clear it out. So we'll print it out and then clear it out. Line points dot clear. Okay. So if we're holding down the mouse button, we have our little debug ray still, but we're just adding points and then we'll print it out when we release. So let's see what we get. So I click and drag. So we have a list here. It's not really giving us a whole lot, but there we go. Have a list. So we are getting a list. Maybe I can, let's print out line points dot count. So maybe we can see that, I'm getting some number. Short list of 108 points. But if I draw a longer line, that one has 445. So you can see that, like, depending on how long I click, my list is different links. Okay. Okay, so we're getting a list of points. Now we need to create a game object that has a line renderer component on it. I'm going to make a new game object that has a line renderer for each line that gets drawn. And then we will put the points in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a game object variable. Call it new line. And then we'll make a line renderer draw line. Oops. Okay. So okay. So if we release the mouse, so we will say new line is equal to a new game object. Draw line is equal to new line dot add component. So it's cool, we can add components and stuff with code, which is really nice. There's a few things that we need to set. So to start off with, I'm going to just set the material of the line to be the default line material. So draw line dot material, and I googled this and I wrote it down over here. New material, and then I would do shader dot find sprites slash default. So this is just the default line shader. And I'm going to set the width, and you have to set the start and the end. Maybe I don't quite know how wide I want it to be, so I'll make a public float line width. And then I'll just set the start and the end width. So you can set the start and the end to be different if you want. You want to go fat to skinny, whatever. I'm just going to set it to be the same width. So draw line dot start, not color, start width equal to line width, and draw line dot end width is equal to line width. Okay, so we've got our width, got our material. Okay, so what we want to do is so we're going to set first the number of points in the line to be the length of our array. So draw line dot positions count is going to be equal to line points dot count. So So how many points do we have? That's how many positions. And then we will set the positions. So set positions. Now this takes an array. Note here it's an array of vector 3's, but we have a list of vector 3's. So what we have to do is line. If I just put this, it'll be like, I need an array. But there's a cool function to array. You can just convert it really easily. Okay, so that's it. Let's test. Let's see if it works. We hit play. We click and drag and we release. Made a game object. It's in there. Wow, look at that. Color. Did we forget something? What did we forget? What did we forget to do? Do we have to set the color? We might have to set the color. Let's see. Color. That might be it, yeah. Red. Draw a line, please. Oh no! We have a bug. Let's see what we got. We made a new game object. We added the line renderer. We changed the material. Let's set the color. Red and color. This color, not red. So red line. Setting the width. Let's see. Oh. Timer equals timer delay. Let's make sure to reset our timer, y'all. That's maybe what's wrong. Okie dokie. Let's try this again. No lie. It's here. It's invisible. Oh. Too many points maybe? It's not red. Okay. I figured it out. You have to set the line width. It was at 0. It wasn't showing up. So if we hit play and you click and you draw and you release, it makes a line. Beautiful. Okay. Set your line width. So this is pretty good, but it's a little weird that we can't see it until we're finished. So what we can do is we can take advantage of the moment that we press the mouse to actually create the line. While we're holding the mouse down, we can update the line, and then when we release the mouse, we finish and clear out the list. So let's just reorganize our code a little bit to take advantage of that. So when we press the mouse button, so if input.get mouse button down, and we press the mouse button, all of this stuff where we're kind of defining the line, I'm going to cut this and then paste it up here. Now, as we are holding the mouse button down and we are adding points to it, we want to continuously update the point count and the point array. So here. And then when we release the mouse, what we can do is clear out that list so that's ready for whatever the next line is. So we just did a little bit of reorganizing so that the line will update as we are clicking and drawing. So we create the line, update it as we are dragging around, and then clear our list to get ready for the next one as we go. So let's try this again. So as I click, it makes the line, and then it updates as I draw. There we go. And then it releases. So I can make a new one. So this is great. And then the last thing I want to show you, which is literally just a fun aesthetic thing, is you can make a random color, which is like kind of fun. So if you create a color function, random color, because right now we're just making red, which is like kind of boring, and we can return. So this is something that I literally just, if you search for Unity random color, you'll find this very easily. So what I can do is, instead of setting it to be colored red, I can set it to be random color. And then we can get some like really pretty lines with different start and end colors. Okay. Or if you wanted it to, well, I'll show you what this looks like. So, right, so it kind of updates the colors, which I think is really pretty, very fun. Or if you wanted them to be like one color the whole way through instead of a different start and end, you could make a color C equals random color. And then you could set this equal to C. So you could set it to the same color or two different colors. So we set the same, then we get a really nice pink, green, so it's a different color each time. You could also create a like a UI that when you click it, it's like red, blue, green. It sets it to be red. So you can have the user kind of pick their color, but it is up to you. And what's fun about this is if we like move the camera, we can draw in different places. So you can see how this would look very cool in augmented reality. Yeah, very fun. So yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone. Have fun drawing lines.